Pranjal sir, welcome to the webinar. Now we are ready to begin.
Very good afternoon. Also, maybe the good morning and good afternoon and good evening as people from all parts of the world will be downloading or hearing this session specifically on design thinking. So first of all, I am thankful to Webinar Store, especially Mr. Kunal, for giving me this opportunity because we know that the subject is not so complex, but still it requires a lot of introspection, like why design thinking. So that's why we thought collectively that why not to make an effort to understand to people that shouldn't we demystify some of the concepts related to design thinking. So design thinking, as I have given the definition of the first page of the PPT slide, which says that it is an interactive design process that bridges imagination and implementation to help organizations rapidly and incrementally addressing complex challenges, create value, and grow. So, don't you think that these things were not there earlier in management, which has evolved so much? In not only management but also in education, we have evolved so much. So, don't we have these concepts earlier? It was there, it is there. But why design thinking? Today we will demystify and like to make understand you people that it is a very interactive design process. It is a design process means it doesn't require an individuals to be a designer, or he need not to be a graduate. He need not to be a research scholar or PhD or something or scientist. It can be done by any individuals if he has or she has the aptitude and passion to have some solutions to the problem statements or pain points which he or she looks into the environment. So in the next slide, if I show that what Albert Einstein has said, that we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking which we have used to create it. So that's the reason the difference between what or means based on which what we have created and how we are going to solve the problem. So there is a gap or there is a differentiation has been made. So how to sort out or how to understand or how to take a different look out of box thinking is basically is embedded in the concept called design thinking. So in the next slide, if you go to it, then you say the design thinking. Again, I'm asking why design thinking, which is cropping up again and again in the mind of the startups, entrepreneurs, business, businessmen, corporates, research scholars, or research institutions. Because nowadays, with the advent of artificial intelligence and advanced technology or digital transformations, everything is so transparent and so sustainable, so reliable that this design thinking process is need of the hour. So what Einstein again said towards different approach of solving problem, that if I had an hour to solve a problem, I did spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and only 5 minutes left for thinking about the solutions. So this 55 minutes, we can characterize it as design thinking. Because if we give more impetus on thinking about the problem, then we will need to have invest less time on solving the problem. Because by the time this 55 minutes has elapsed, we could understand what is the source of the problem. So in the next slide, what this person from IDEO, who has actually given who has coined this word design thinking, he's from IDEO, he's Tim Brown, and he says very clearly that design thinking combines the characteristics of empathy. Empathy means human centric, because our solution has to be, because as our product or services are meant for the people, so the problem obviously is of the people. So it has the solution has to be have towards them only, means it should be human centric. So it is an integrative thinking. Integrative thinking means thinking of all the domains, of all the skills, of all the subjects which is required for that. And it needs an optimism. We cannot be pessimistic and thinking and finding a solutions. We need to be of in the position called experiential, and we should be collaborative. So this is the Brown in 2000 had said about this. To think like a designer, one must demonstrate this characteristic of a designer so that it can create the others within the parameters given a specific deadline. So obviously, design thinking is only a platform for giving a solution, but obviously it needs to have some milestone, it needs to have some deadlines. So this Chris Colney from IIT US has said that design thinking is a design activity which is embraced by broader group of different skills or different, you can say, pattern or different streams of educations. So this is the ability to understand the context of a circumstances of a design problem, frame them in an insightful way, which we know that design thinking has 5 pillars, which we'll discuss in coming slides. And it is also the ability to work at the level of abstractions, which is appropriate to the situation at hand. We have to think of the situation at the particular moment. We cannot think of those situations while thinking and doing design thinking of those abstract things, which we have not sorted out or which we have not found out or which we don't know during our problem statements. And it's also the ability to model and visualize the solutions even with imperfect informations, because it is not a one-time solutions we are going to give. it is it is something we already know, like know this acronym like PDCA, that is plan, do, check, act. So it is an ongoing continual process. So once we have a solution to it, we should not stop. And design thinking also states that we cannot stop. We have to again and again, we have to rebuild. We have to, like we are saying nowadays, learn, relearn, and upscale. The same thing is happening in all the situations wherever the design thinking is involved. So in the coming slide, in the next slide, basically, design thinking just continuation of the what Chris has said. That design thinking isn't is a magical thinking. So that's why this chapter of demystification is very important. We are not speaking anything which is magical or which is out of the way thinking. So it is a basically integrative thinking of all the domains of knowledge, and it is not mystical. And if it is done well, then obviously it can shape the future of things, sometimes in magical ways. So if all are being done in a very structural way, we can say scientific way, then it will obviously the results will be very magical ways. In the next